Before we call upon our brother, we would like to take our theme song. I don't know if media team can assist us. The next voice we shall hear shall be Brother Brain Iyeke. Thank you.
I'm resting on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. My heart has no desire to stay where doubts will rise and fears display. Though some may dwell where these are bound, my prayer, my aim is higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. I want to scale the utmost height and catch a gleam of glory bright, but still I pray till heaven I found. Lord, lead me on to higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
Thank you, media team. Over to you, Brother Brain.
All right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, sorry, just a minute. Let me just ensure that you can hear me and you can see me. Okay, please confirm you can all hear me and see me as well.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, but yet to see you.
Oh, wow. What about now?
I can hear you, but yet
Yes,
to see you.
I can see. I guess we just need to spotlight you. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay, so I can see you also. Thank you.
okay. All right, so I'm trying to ensure that my both devices are okay so that everybody could see me. All right, so I have the privilege of being here again today to do this with us because it's actually a privilege to be here and ensuring that a session like this is always mind blowing and everybody get the essence of it. So I want to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity again to come and do this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking on something that is related to um, my area of, let's say, specialization, kind of like what I do. And then our focus today is going to just be on the reforms, like the recent reforms that have taken place in Nigeria, and then the opportunities that lies ahead of us from them, and then we'll also be looking at the effect, basically. But in all, I don't really want to go into I don't want to go into full details of what insurance is because I know most of us already know what insurance is and then the importance of insurance and then the types of insurance and how how relevant they are to us as individuals and then as organizations and even to the government at large. But today I'm just going to be focusing on the recent reforms that have happened in Nigeria in terms of the Nigeria Insurance Industry Reform Act and then how it has affected the industry in terms of recapitalization, in terms of digitalization, in terms of compliance, and then what has become compulsory and important for every individual, even organization, to ensure that they are standing on the right side of the law as far as insurance policy or regulations is concerned in Nigeria. Okay, so permit me to share my screen so that we could just kick start. So we're going to be looking at insurance. No sounds. Okay. All right, please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. Just so that my internet is stable enough for us to do this without any glitch. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I'm looking at insurance in Nigeria, the trends, reforms, opportunities in 2025, and also be looking at the effect. I say on the effect aspect, um, I'm not going into details, but we're just going to focusing on how these new reforms are relevant and important to us as individuals, and then we'll also now be looking at the opportunity that lies ahead of us. Okay, so this class, yes, I know I'm the one that is doing the facilitating, but I'm going to be, asking for our input as we go on, and just to ensure that we are all on the same page, and then nobody is left behind. Okay, so is there anybody here that have not heard about insurance before, that don't know about insurance? Anybody show of hands? Okay, so I can safely say that we are all aware of what insurance is. And then the next question I'm going to be asking is there anybody that do not have insurance policy? Oh, no, maybe that's the wrong question. How many of us have insurance policy and which policy? Maybe you can just quickly type on the chat. I mean, I know most of us there that I personally handle the insurance policy, so I will not be expecting those persons to say anything. But yeah, if you have insurance policy for yourself, you can just maybe drop it on the chat. Anybody, any insurance policy that you have, apart from car insurance, that is comprehensive or third party or HMO. Now, HMO basically, I mean, for those of us that are in the corporate setting, so it's one of the requirements to have, health insurance, which is the HMO. So apart from that, does any other person have any other insurance? Okay, so while we are thinking of that, I'll just go on. Now, insurance is one thing that when you talk about it to some people, they find it very kind of they don't really settle well with them because they feel that why do I need insurance? Or insurance in Nigeria doesn't work and all of that. And these are the stories that we've been hearing for a very long time, of time immemorial. And when people say this most times, they just say it because maybe they've heard somebody say something about insurance that did not really work out well, and because of that, insurance doesn't work. But when you ask them, how many of them have had experience, like a personal experience, and they'll be short of words. Now, the truth of the matter is, insurance is not something that we 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 think about. We contemplate if you should have it or not. Insurance is part of life, basically. But it's just that in this part of Nigeria, we've not really gotten to that point where people see it as important as having a bank account. That is how important insurance should be for you. Just as you have a bank account, that is how you should have insurance policy for yourself, for your family, but a lot of times people don't really see it as important as that because of lack of awareness. Now, it will be shock us to know that in Africa, the country with the highest insurance penetration is actually South Africa, SA, and South Africa has insurance awareness or penetration of about 11%. I think about 11 point some fractions percent, and which is like a total of contribute to about 58% of the total insurance revenue in the whole of Africa. And after South Africa, the next one is Morocco, which has 8.9% insurance penetration, and then followed by Egypt, 4%, and then Kenya, 3%. Nigeria, where we are, who can guess how many percent insurance penetration or awareness we have in Nigeria? As a matter of fact, it's not even up to 1. It's not even up, it's 0. About 0.7, 0.8%, and that is not too good. And because of that, so people see insurance as something that doesn't matter. And so most of the times when I, have opportunity of speaking with people and we tell them about insurance, they say, I do not believe in insurance. The truth of the matter is that insurance is not something that you should believe in because it's not a religion. It's not whether it's not a Christian religion, neither is a Muslim or Buddhism or atheist. It's not a religion that you need to believe in. Insurance is something that you need to have because it is good that you have it when you do not need it than you need it and you do not have it. Maybe I need to repeat that again. Insurance is something that you need to have when you do not need it so that when you need it, it will be readily available for you. In other words, it is better to have insurance when you do not need it than when you need it, you do not have it. So if you have this at the back of our mind, then it will be easier to relate to the importance of insurance. Now, one of the easiest examples I usually give to people when I'm having this conversation or explaining to people is this. For those of us that have cars, if you want to go on a journey, you usually ensure that you have a spare tire in your boot before you move, right? Even if you are not driving your own personal car, you want to go on a public bus, you are moving from one state to another, one location to another. At least my growing up those days when I was in boarding school, that I have to travel from Lagos to the east, for boarding school and all of that. My dad, inculcated that habit in me that before I take off from any park, I will ask the driver, do you have a spare tire? Or I'll probably go around using my leg to touch the tires to keep contact to ensure that they are well inflated and all of that. So that was because of my own dad, the nature of his job as a police officer and also in the automobile sector. So he taught me that. So now the question is, when we check to ensure that we have a spare tire before we move, are we actually envisaging that when we kick off on that journey, that maybe if assuming you are traveling from Lagos to the east, are you actually envisaging that if you get to Ore, you are going to have a flat tire? Is that the reason why you're carrying a spare tire? The answer is no, right? You are carrying a spare tire should in case. Now, you could go to that journey to and fro and you do not have any need for the spare tire. Good and fine. But if along the way, maybe after Ore or before Ore or even in Ore, you had a flat tire and you do not have a spare tire, what do you think is going to happen to you? Certainly your journey is going to come to an end if you don't have to find a place to get another tire like immediately, which can be very difficult. So even if your journey is not ended at that moment, at least you are going to be distorted. Like for some minutes, you'll be confused because you don't know what to do. How to get another tire will be the problem. So that is how insurance is. So insurance is something, like I said earlier on, something that you need to have when you do not need it, so that when you need it, it's available. So that is just the simple explanation to how important insurance is, the way we should see insurance and the way we should take it. So when people say, I do not believe insurance or it doesn't work, it's not about religion. It's not something that you should believe in. It's something that you need to have in place because it's part of life. And for recent times, I've heard, a lot of pastors and some religious leaders saying in the pulpit, talking about, telling their congregation, their members, why they should have insurance policy, either for their cars or for the education of their children or even for their old age. So everybody today, we all move from point A to point B. So point A is our date of death, and then point B is our date of death, DOD. Now, all of us know our date of birth, but nobody knows our date of death. Nobody knows when we are going to die. But in between point A and point B, we have what is called life. And in that life that we are living in, we're all praying that we should have a long life, right? But in that life we are living, there are things we need to take cognizance of. And one of them is education of our children. Another one is our health. Then another thing is even our retirement. And then finally, our death. People actually make plans for all those things, should in case something happens. I mean, I can have so many examples I could give with my years of experience in the job or in this line of business. At least by God grace, is I think this should be my this should be my 8th year in insurance actually. So I have a lot of experience and a lot of stories, that could tell about people that have managed, their policies and even the ones that I didn't manage directly, but have, come in contact with about experiences that they have, right? So what that simply means is that as individuals, we just need to ensure that we put things into place. So now, what are the regulations that are recently come up in Nigeria? Now, Nigeria government have decided to come up with, I think that was around July this year or thereabout, July or August this year, where the new reform was made in the Nigeria Insurance Act, and then they now decided to take away some things that they feel that was obsolete and no more relevant, and then they have to do a consolidation. So they consolidated some of the insurance laws, regulations, just to make sure that there is more enforcement and is more there's more compliance, and then the importance one which are compulsory, people now begin to see it as something important. So the industry growth metrics, Nigeria insurance market grew with assets of over 2.3 billion and a GPI above 1.1 trillion in 2024. And in 2025, right now, it is still counting. And the asset base as at middle of this year, which is around July, it was already eating about 5 trillion naira. Why? Because of the awareness that people are beginning to see that it is important that they get some things in place, which is quite good for them. Now, the key insurance segment. So insurance is grouped into three aspects. Now, in Aftermath, where I work with currently, these three aspects is clearly defined. So if from the introduction, it said that I work with the SME and work group. So the SME and work group is where I actually work with, but it's not just limited to my job functions. It's not limited to the SME and work group, but because of the fact that the organization is trying to ensure that more attention is placed into not just big organization and high net worth individual, but the smaller organizations, individuals that are just starting up, small businesses, not even the SMEs now, that's the small and medium enterprises, but also the macro businesses. How do they survive? How do they get access to some of these, insurance cover that they could leverage on, that could help them to succeed should in case of any damage occurs? How do they, bounce back and then keep afloat and not just
You're muted. Brain, you're muted. Brain, if you can hear me, I think you need to mute and unmute yourself. Is it just me or can anyone hear?
I think it's back
We
now.
can't hear you.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
hear
you're
you
back.
now.
Yeah, my apologies. The system I'm projecting from just I think it's network issues. So here I can't use my videos. I'm just trying to use two devices so that I can project from one and then display my video from the other. All right, so I'm trying to turn on back the slide. All right, please confirm you can see the slide now.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the life aspect, we have the health aspects of insurance, and we have the P&C, like I said, which is the properties and casualties. So the life aspect has to do with your whole life insurance, your children education, your personal savings, your retirement plan, and all of that. Those all belong to the life aspect. Then the health, which can be your corporate health plan or your individual health plan. So that's another arm. And then we have the properties and casualties, which has to do with your car insurance, your building insurance, your home insurance, and properties, business, and all other aspects of it, even construction sites and all of that, where the erection all risk and then the construction all risks, all of them come into play. So every aspect of human life has an insurance policy that is tailored to it that would help us to stay afloat. So I'm not going to be going into details in all of that, but I'll just run through um, these major reforms that have happened recently, and then maybe before we wrap up, we'll just touch on some of those areas, and then we can ask our questions and see how much we could be able to achieve. So I'm trying to see how we could do so much in such a little time that we have. Right. So then the next aspect of the insurance snapshot is the market concentration and challenges. So before now, a lot of insurance companies were existing, and then as a result of that, so many not so good practices were happening in the industry, which are leading to fraud and then leading to lack of claim from customers, especially when some eventualities happens and all of that. So the fewer larger player dominates revenue, highlights the need for more innovation and wider industry participation. So what that simply means that at some point, the government has to look at all of these things and then have to set some boundaries, some ground rules for some players to come into the system. And then for those that are already existing, they're not able to meet up to those standards, then two things have to happen. It's either they go into a major, or they just quietly just go out of the industry so that they will not have bad name for the others. They will now also look at the regulatory environment. So NICOM, which is um, um, the body that governs all activities that have to do with insurance, just as we have the central bank that governs all activities that the other commercial banks do in Nigeria. So that's how we have NICOM. So NICOM is the regulatory body that governs all other insurance companies in Nigeria. And one of the things that they've done this time is to ensure that every insurance company that takes up a policy for an individual in Nigeria, that the insurance don't just fly with the company, but they also do what we call reinsurance. So reinsurance, in other words, is once the customer takes up the insurance policy, the insurance company takes up another policy again with another, not another insurance now, but the reinsurance, which is like a bigger body, so that in case anything happens and this customer have a claim that the insurance company as the body is not able to pay, then the payment will now also be made by the reinsurance company. So by so doing, there is no way that you take up insurance policy, ensure that your premiums is paid as at when due, and then there is claim, and somebody will come and tell you story that they will not be able to pay you. So all those are some of the things that the reform is trying to see how they can be able to cope and ensure that every claim is being settled. And so that will now move us to the next aspect of the reform, where we'll now talk about the key industry trends. So what are these new industry trends? So we'll talk about digital transformation and insurtech, which I've talked about earlier. This is where the mobile platform and the AI are revolutionizing the insurance product and distribution and management. So in other words, insurance companies also employing the use of AIs. Yeah, the use of AIs in the insurance industry to ensure that every aspect of your business is protected. Because one of the things that we say to our customer in Acta Massage is that we ask for human progress by protecting what matters. So asking for human progress is, how do you ensure that you go about your day-to-day activities while something that you love and you cherish so much is being protected? Now, if I will give example, if I have a car and I love that car so much and I don't want anything to happen to that car, I may decide that because I love that car so much and I don't want anything to happen. So what I will now do is to wash the car, keep it in my garage, and sit down in my garage and be looking at it every day to ensure that nothing comes near to it, no child comes near it, no breeze, no, just to ensure that the car is protected. Now, yes, once sitting down and looking at that car and kind of watching over the car will be protected. But what about other aspects of my life? Am I making progress? No, I am not making progress because I'm just sitting down one place, protecting my car because I love the car so much. But in aftermath, I would say that we act for human progress by protecting what matters. So while we are protecting your car, so instead of you to sit down and just be redundant because you want to protect your car that you love so much, why not give us the burden of taking care of the car by insuring it with us? Why you can still go about other activities to make progress, to grow in your life as a person. So that's basically what that phrase simply means, acting for human progress by protecting what matters. So we protect what matters to you and why you can still go about your day-to-day activities, making progress for yourself. So all of this is all tied down to the fact that you've come to that realization that this is what is important to you, and then you just have to do the needful to ensure that it is protected. Then we'll talk about the compulsory insurance enforcement. Like I said, during the consolidation of the recent Insurance Reform Act, there are some insurance policies that have been outdated, which they kind of took away to bring up a more stronger enforcement. And what one of those what the reform actually did is ensure that all sectors like the construction, the public infrastructure, they are all expanding in insured population and then boosting premium. So what that simply means that everything that you need to do, every endeavor that you are doing that require protection, because in the process of doing it, damage can happen, life can be lost, and not just the life of those directly involved in the act, but even to the third party. Third party in this sense, meaning maybe a passers-by, somebody that have no business, for instance, in a site where a construction is taking place, and maybe the contractor use a substandard material, and then the building collapse. And somebody that have no business with the building is not working there, is not living there, maybe just passing by at the time of the collapse, and then the person is affected, is either injured or even, I mean, the worst happens and the person is killed. Now the government have made it mandatory that all such construction that is being taking place, all of them are all protected so that if anything should happen to the building, so not just the contractor or those working on the site, even to the third party, they are all protected. So those are some of the compulsory insurance enforcement that the new Reform Act of 2025 have also brought into play. And they will not talk about the new market players and then the product. So innovation insurance product targeting undeserved group, including the micro insurance and the health coverage for former workers, and then which are now emerging. Now, remember I said earlier on, before now, focus is more on high net worth individuals, those that we refer to as big men. Because when you come to meet some people and tell them, okay, come and do insurance, actually, there are market women and all of that, they'll tell you, not be person we don't need to do insurance, we get enough money, and have enough savings. We hear a statement like that. But the new Reform Act has made it so simple that you don't need to have a fat bank account before you can have insurance cover for yourself. For as little as what you could afford, you could actually put something in place that could take care of some eventualities and uncertainties when they happen, and which micro insurance is also part of it, cater for the SMEs. So before now, large corporate organization, basically, they are the one that take up insurance policies for the HMO, group life, workman compensation, HEMA compensation, and all those, major insurance covers that they will take. But the small SMEs, the uh, Nnamdi and Co, or the capital by the roadside that have a shop, and with him and just maybe his two sons and then one secretary. How do they get covered if eventuality should happen to them? So these are the area that the micro insurance is now also covering, and that is where my own part of the AXA Mansard portfolio covers as the SME and then the workspace. So we also talk about the customer centric model. So what this is simply saying that focus is personalized. It focuses on personalized services, faster claim, transparency, and then reshaping the insurance customer experience. Faster claims, transparency, and personalized service. Now, it has been proven that, I mean, this week, starting from yesterday, Monday, is actually the customer service week in most of the corporate organizations, right? And then we kind of celebrate our customers and then how we have been treating them in terms of our service and delivery and all of that. But most times we find out that it is because of the experience that the customer gets that they could talk about and then make a referral and get you more customers, right? So if your customer experience is not good, if somebody buy from you and then the person is not well treated, for instance, you take up a car insurance, maybe a third party or a comprehensive, and then there's an accident and you're expecting to get claim, and then insurance told you that okay, for this reason, because you did not do this and this was not done after when the accident happened, so there was not going to be claim. That's very bad because it's not what we were expecting when you took up the policy, some of those things were not clearly spelled out or were not even part of the policy as per se. But when it's time to pay claim and then all these things now begin to surface and people are not saying some of these things, you now become like you be asking yourself, are you sure you did the right thing? Like, where is all this one coming from? And seems like can be very disheartening, right? But when the claim is on point, fast, and then there is no issue, there is not too much ambiguity, the process is clear and it's transparent and you are happy, you always go back to talk about it. And that is why most organizations now they have social media page. And if any customer is not happy, they can go to your social media page and then say a whole lot of bad stuff about you. And then people will go through it, they will see it and like, okay, if it is like this, I will not do it. But when people have a good experience and then they go to your page and then they say nice things about you and people say, in fact, there are some times in our the our digital team, we just screenshot some of the reviews that some customers have dropped on our page and then share it with all the staff members for them to see, and we can even use it as a selling point. When we go out there and start talking to people, say that look at, go and check our page, what some customers are saying about us, especially in our health sector. Maybe I've have a conversation with a lot of people today. When I tell them AXA Mansard, yeah, I work with AXA Mansard and then we do motor insurance, they're like, oh, really? AXA Mansard motor? I thought it's only health because AXA Mansard is known for a good health service delivery in Nigeria today. And not just because, you know, um, that is our forte, but because it's a multinational, and as a multinational, health is something that Asamasa don't play with, not just for the customers, but even for the staff as well. So anything that you will do, if even if you have a policy with us on health, and then there's an emergency, and then the closest hospital to you is not even the one that is within your plan, life first. After massage, we ask you to go into the hospital, get treatment, and then after you have been treated and you're okay, then you cannot come back and we cannot do, plus and minus and do, permutations to know how the claim can be paid and then to what limit you have and all of that. But there are some insurance company that when such situation happen, they'll tell you that because they're not in a place where you're supposed to assess the hospital that is in your plan, they will not get access to that hospital, and that is very wrong. And those are some of the things that customer service experience can help the organization to reshape, which the new reform is talking about. Then we'll not talk about the regulatory lifestyle of NIIRA, which is Nigeria Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025, which I'm talking about. So I mentioned earlier on, so I talked about the consolidations of the law. So this simply means that the outdated ones, like I mentioned earlier on, have been scrapped out, and then the laws have been, meshed together to form a single modern regulatory framework where all insurance companies in Nigeria can work by, and then not see it as something that they should not joke with. And then we'll talk about the enforcement regulatory powers. So the Act expands the NICOM, which is the regulatory body of all insurance companies in Nigeria, by enforcing them to promote compliance and customer protection. So with this law, customers are more protected. In other words, as a customer, you're even more protected than the insurance company. And I'm sure before now, the insurance company was not protected because of, they pay tax and all of that. But the reverse is not the case. So instead of you to pay your premium and then there is time for you to have a claim and the claim is not being paid, and you take it up and then nobody will listen to you because it's your word against the insurance company. But now the focus is more on the customer protection. So if you play your claim and you have evidence, proof that all that you're supposed to do is being done, or your policy is active as at when the claim was filed, and then the insurance refused to pay you. When you take it up, Nikon will actually fight for you. In fact, Nikon will stand for you and ensure that that insurance company pays what they were supposed to pay, and then you will not have any loss. So there's more protection on the customer now, rather than the insurance company itself. And then the enforcement also speak about digital policy innovation. So a lot of more policies that could cater for not just the corporate or the high net worth individual, like I said earlier, even to the smaller and the even the common man, as the case may be. They can also be protected and have policy that covers them should in case of eventualities. We'll talk about industry growth and confidence. So the reform aim at to restore public trust, attract investment, and then increase insurance penetration, which is a major thing in Nigeria. I mentioned it when I started the presentation that in Africa, the highest country with the highest penetration is SA, which is South Africa, with about 11.8%. But Nigeria, we are not even in the first four. So I think we are like the fifth, with a percentage that is even as low as not up to 0 points. You can imagine. So we still have a long way to go, and the only way that can be done is when this reform is actually working and people are seeing it, and then they rebuild the trust they have in the public sector, then which can attract investment and then increase insurance penetration. Okay, so now also be talking about the capital requirement and then risk. That is risk-based capital ROBC. Now, the new capital threshold. Now, during the reform, there was a kind of a much argument on this aspect because, like I said before, now there have been a lot of insurance companies in Nigeria, and most of them are not really fit to do the insurance business, and that is why today, excuse me, that is why today we have some insurance companies that focus on only life businesses. Some insurance companies that focus on only life businesses. So, and then we have some that focus on only P&C, which is the life properties and casualties alone. And then we have some that does only investment, and then some that does only HMO. So we have a lot of HMO companies, so they focus is just on HMO. But for you to be able to do all of this, it means that you have to be very strong in terms of capital base and in terms of and customer base as well. So because those are the things that will keep you afloat if there is a claim. And one thing we should also remember that in the insurance industry, one claim can wipe out 5 years of premium that you have been paying. Just one claim. When you have one claim, a major one, can wipe out 5 years of premium that you've been paying. So that is why it is that risky. So for you to be able to do the business, you need to be strong in your capital base. So the Nigeria Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025 set high minimum capital level for life, non-life reinsurance companies to ensure financial soundness. So if you are not financially sound, you cannot be in the insurance business. So that was the way of trying to curb, some of the excesses in the industry that leads to fraud and then distrust in the industry, where people will say, they did insurance, and then when it was time to get claim, they were not able to be paid their claim and all of that. So that's the things that can be demoralizing and then make people not want to go into it. But once this law are being followed through and enforced the way it's supposed to be, in Nigeria, this is Nigeria, anything can happen. So somebody can take cut corners, and then when some official come, they just go by the back door and they do some certain things and get away with it. But if everything is followed through to the latter, every insurance policy that you buy, you can be rest assured that you are fully and properly protected. And when there is claim, you'll be able to compensate it adequately, right? But Nigeria is what Nigeria is, but we just hope that the reform will actually do some of those internal cleanup in the industry and ensure that any insurance industry or business that is standing is capable to handle the pressure and then pay the claims when it happens. Then one of them is also the fact that the risk-based capital framework have to be also sensitized to require insurer to hold capital proportional to market, credit, and operational risk they underwrite. So you cannot underwrite, for instance, if as a company, let's say for instance, Asamasad, I'm just using Asamasad as company because I mean Asamasad is big anyways. So if as a company Asamasad, we have our capital base for any underwriting work, let us say is for instance is 2 billion. And then we now want to underwrite a marine insurance and a marine cargo, let's say a ship that is coming in from China to Nigeria, and that ship is worth over 3 billion. And our underwriting capacity is 2 billion. Can we actually take up that insurance for that cargo that is worth 3 billion? The answer is no, right? Because we do not have that capacity. But some insurance company in Nigeria before now, we gladly take up that policy because in their mind is that, oh, they are underwriting this big contract, and they're forgetting that if anything happens, they'll be required to pay that claim of 3 billion. And what they have is not up to 3 billion. How will they be able to pay? So obviously they are already, underwriting their own doom, as the case may be. And those are the things that have caused a lot of, distrust and confusion and issues in the industry, which the reform is basically trying to address. So we also talk about the industry impact and compliance. So insurance have 12 months to comply, driving measures and consolidation to meet new capital requirements. So by this reform, every company starting from August this year have 12 months to ensure that they comply to all these new consolidations and all the new laws and ensure that everybody is meeting up to the minimum capital requirements. So there is no way you say you are not aware or you don't know. So for any insurance policy that you underwrite, we are liable and capable to make claims whenever it comes. So if that claim is not being paid, the customer is even more protected than the insurance company. So two things are liable to happen. Either you get your license revoked or you'll be bought over where measure will happen. So with all of this, the insurance industry is heading towards a very good limelight, ensuring that everybody meet up and then stick to this regulation without defaulting. Then when I talk about the goals and capital reform, the reform aim to enhance stability, build trust, reduce default, and align with global insurance best practices. And that is where Acta is playing big because as a multinational with headquarters in France and with over 65 countries in the world, so we already understand this, and then Asamasat has zero tolerance to non-compliance when it comes to our underwriting. So if for instance, if you are taking up a health policy in Asamasat and then on the form you fill anything that has to do with pre-existing condition, before that policy will be accepted, you must give details of all of those things so that one of the insurance principles is utmost good faith, which is very market, meaning that as a customer that is coming to take up the policy, you must be able to give every details that concern you as a person and whatever you are insuring. So if you're insuring yourself,
Brain, we can't hear you again. Brain, we've lost your audio.
my apologies. I think it's my system. I'm actually connecting to the hotspot on my mobile phone to do the presentation, so I can see that
Oh,
out
okay.
of network at the moment. So just a few minutes for me to reconnect. So while I'm doing that, to share the slide. So I don't know, maybe I'll just go ahead. Okay, I think it's back now. Yeah, fine. Okay, okay. Sorry for that. Nigeria problem. All right,
All right,
so basically every insurance policy that you are taking, you must be able to ensure that everything that any risk that is associated with that policy is clearly spelled out before it is accepted to ensure that um, you are maximally protected, and then there is no issue at any point. And so the next the next aspect of the reform, we'll now be talking about the licensing and intermediaries. Okay, so on the license and intermediary, so we are now looking at stricter licensing requirements. So the Nigeria Insurance Industry Reform Act 2025 mandates certificate of proficiency and then 10 years experience and a clean record of intermediary. So what this simply means that for you to be able to take up an insurance policy, or for instance, somebody like myself now that works in an insurance company, before I can walk up to um a customer and then tell them that, okay, I work with AXA Mansard and then I want to buy insurance policy with us. Before that is done, it is expected that the customer asks me if I have certificate of proficiency. What that simply means that if I am certified to be able to be his or her relationship manager and then instead his or her policy. So what it simply means that for everybody that is working in an insurance company has to be certified an insurance person, have to be certified. So that is where the certificate comes in. And you know, due to the number of years in the industry, I've been satisfied for quite a while now, which give me full membership into the Nigeria Insurance Institute of Nigeria, and then I'm also working on other certifications that could, boost my um, my portfolio in the industry. So then we also talk about the fact that, I mean, this one just, I think it was about last month, early last month, after the reform was done, that we had a strategy session with some of our groupers, and then we are now told that for any insurance company that is hiring any new staff, that the new reform mandates that the person must have 10 years experience in the industry. And we're like, 10 years experience. I mean, where are you going to get that from? Who are you going to be employing? And then how are you going to take care of them in terms of compensation and all of that? So, but these are some of the things that the reform has actually put into place to ensure that everybody is taken care of. So somebody cannot just walk up to you and say, come and buy insurance when, in as much as the insurance agent is doing the KYC on you, as his potential customer, it's also expected that you, as the potential customer, also do a KYC on the insurance person to ensure that the person is capable to be able to take and manage your policy. So these are just some of the reforms that have come into the industry, is just to ensure that everywhere is synthesized, and then there is more transparency in the industry. And then another thing under the licensing and intermediaries is the fact that there have to be a severe penalty for violation. So for anybody that violates this new regulation that have just been enacted by the federal government of Nigeria, you are going to be fined, and the fine is not small money. So if you're not ready to pay, or you do not have the money to pay, you just have to keep by the books. You just have to follow due process. And the fine is 50 million naira, imprisonment, and penalties for insurance. So if any insurance company, employ staff that doesn't have 10 years experience going forward, which is starting from next year basically, or any staff that is even that have the experience but is not satisfied, does not have certificates, it does not have these qualifications, to back up their the profession, then they are going to be fine. So this is like a wake-up call to all insurance companies, so that they will not just bring anybody into the industry and then ask them to go and sell policy that they do not know, and when there's time for claim, there will not be issues. So these are just ways federal government is trying to regulate the industry through the reform recent Reform Act. And then we'll now also talk about the fact that there's enhanced professionalism and customer protection. So like I said earlier on, so focus is now more on the customer than the insurance company. So regular audits, bookkeeping, client management strength, and strengthening trust, and then market efficiency. So all these are ways to ensure that the customer is more protected, and then if there are claims, the claims are paid as are going due. So we'll now talk about digitalization and innovation. So remember I said earlier on that it's not just in the tech industry that we're not talking about the deployment of AIs and then um the artificial intelligence, but also in insurance industry as well. So these are some of the things that they're not putting into place to ensure that everybody is well protected. So the insurance industry is also looking at digital policy insurance, and by so doing that, all policies that you take, you can be able to access them on the go electronically. So on your phones, you can have proof of your insurance policy, so you don't have to be carrying people up and down. Imagine when you have a car insurance policy, and then you're supposed to have a hard copy in your car all the time that you can present to the VIO or LASMA or whoever that will accost on you on the way and ask for your insurance certificate and all of that. So even if you don't have the hard copy in your car, if you have them on your phone, you can easily open your mail, and then when the soft copy is sent to you and you present it, and you are good to go. So these are some of the things that the reform is trying to put in place and ensure that everybody have easy and seamless way of ensuring that all your insurance policies are taken care of. So, but in Nigeria, this is going to be a difficult task because we're just talking about it some days ago and we're just laughing. Yeah, in as much as is a way forward, but it's not something that will just happen like almost immediately. It's something that we have to ensure that we follow through gradually to get to that level where everybody will be in alignment. Because I'm sure there are some law enforcement agencies in Nigeria when they ask you for your your car particulars or insurance papers, and then you bring out your phone and then you show them, they're like, where is the hard copy? And you say you don't have copy, and then nothing that that's a bookable offense and all of that. So these are the kind of things that could happen. But the reform is trying to say that you don't really have to have the hard copy. That's part of digitalization where you could, have a soft copy and then present it. And once it is up to date, the data are not, it's not expired, it's not outdated, and then you are good to go. And then we also talk about Insurance Innovation Sandbox, the NICOM Insurance Sandbox allow companies to test new products and technologies in controlled environment, and then fostering innovation. So a lot of new products, like I mentioned, which is what Axamassad is basically key into in terms of the SME space. So it's not just the large corporates or the high net worth individuals that they know that, okay, these are the regular insurance target audience, but also to the market woman out there. So the abokis that sells, you know, um, that has a full store, provision store close by. If anything happens, the building collapse or a fence falls and destroy the shop, and if possible, he get injured or even his life is lost, what happened? How does he get compensated? So these are the area, this, new product innovations and technologies trying to include to ensure that there is alignment in all sphere of life, and everybody is carried along as well, and we are all on the same page. So we'll now talk about the mobile health insurance access, as where you have access to your healthcare even on the go with your phone. Now, Aftermaster has been very strong in these aspects in all our health insurance policies. So even on your phone, you could actually book appointments on the hospital, go for your checkup, or even get surgery done just by logging on the app and then getting access to the hospital, ensuring that you are speaking with the right persons. Even we have a telemedicine platform where even at the comfort of your home, you could speak to a consultant, and then depending on the kind of package you are anyways, so you have access to some of those services that could make things a whole lot easier for you. So these are where the mobile health insurance access is actually making wave, and AXA Mansard is very strong in that aspect. So we'll talk about the improved efficiency and inclusion. So digital tools improve insurance efficiency, reduces costs, enhance customers' experience, promote inclusive growth in Nigeria's insurance market. So everybody is included, like I said. So not just some segment of this economy or segment of the population, or because these are the haves or these are the have none. These are the wealthy and these are the poor. So everybody is the new reform is trying to ensure that everybody is included. So it's the kind of the full inclusion in all strata and phase of the economy or the population, where everybody can have equal access to when it comes to the health, HMO or other life savings and then life benefit that you could key into, provided you are willing. Okay, so now, what are the challenges now? Because, like I know, I mentioned it earlier on, in as much as the reform is trying to put some of these things in place to ensure that the customer is protected, the insurance companies play by the rules, and then they are following compliance and all of that. There are still a lot of challenges that is going to be faced, and these challenges are sometimes might not be from the law as per se, but on the individuals, people that are supposed to carry these rules and regulation out. And and that's why we say most times the problem is not the law, it's the people that are supposed to follow through, that are supposed to do it. How are they doing it? Are they following due process? Are they doing the right thing? Are they following the compliance? And are they meeting up with expectations? So these are the challenges that we're going to be facing. And one of them is low public trust. Public awareness and trust are low due to cultural perception and previous claim denial experience, so which I've mentioned at some point. So because some people have had these issues before, so they not think that insurance is a no-go area. This I'm not going to do it, or if it is maybe because of a particular company, that they have this bad experience with, so they not feel that okay, that company there is nothing good can come out from that company anymore. But the narrative are changing, and so we just have to be able to um and be able to give ourselves that opportunity to give it benefit of the doubt. Yeah, that's the word. To give benefit of the doubt and then just okay, let's just see how it goes. With all of these new reforms and policies that are coming up, so I believe that a lot of changes is going to be made, especially in the insurance industry, and ensure that there is a lot of sensitization and sanitation as well to ensure that the due process is followed and everybody is adequately compensated. And then another challenge that we are going to be facing as we try to enforce this law is the fact that there's going to be insured informal sector. And what that means is that the informal sector remains largely uninsured from affordability and lack of tailored insurance products, which is a major problem before now. But hopefully, I want to believe that maybe not like almost immediate, but within the next um, couple of years, between maybe now to about next 3 years, I'm sure a lot of people will come to this realization and then begin to understand that okay, yeah, they could actually count on some of these products that they take, the insurance policy that they take, and then they ensure that okay, once these insurance are in place and then there are claims, they can be able to get the claim that is being expected as at 20. Then we'll talk about the challenges of regulatory and cost burden. So high regulatory compliance costs challenges and challenge smaller operators and limit market diversity. I think it was early this year, I think March, yes, March this year. Aftermath was fined heavily simply because of a particular customer. And now this is not just it's not it's not something that cannot be done. Like it's not something that is not obtainable, right? But because of the fact that Aftermath is multinationals and then they've proven over time not to cut corners, they want to play by the books and all of that. So anything that Aftermath does that is not in compliance with what NICOM expects, Aftermath is usually heavily fined. And so because of that, all our underwriters are usually and extremely careful not to make any mistakes when it comes to underwriting any policy. Now, last year, earlier this year, rather March, Aftermath was fined heavily simply because of one customer that gave outdated or expired CAC document. And that policy, it was actually a motor policy, and that policy had been existing before, like as Amazon had been insuring, but as at last year, the CAC certificate expired and it was supposed to be renewed, but the customer has not renewed it, and then he needed the policy to be running and active. So it was supposed to be renewed for I think in the space of 3 months. And so while they were waiting for that renewal process to be done, so the underwriter just went ahead to insert the policy and to make it active so that they will not suffer claim and then any loss and they will not get claim. And how the news or how the information got to Nightcom, nobody knows. But they came in and demanded like a sudden audit, and when that was done, it was discovered and they were heavily fined. So what that simply means that this new reform will also have a way of ensuring that any company that falls short of these compliances that they are supposed to do and they refuse to do them, they are going to be paid heavily. They are going to be sanctioned heavily. And so for that reason, I'm sure nobody will want to do that when they don't want to part with such amount of money. So everybody will just have to be forced to ensure that they stay and remain compliant. Then distribution of data limits, limited distribution channels and poor data infrastructure hampers risk assessment and product innovation, which has been a big, very big challenge in Nigeria as a whole. I mean, not just for insurance purposes now, even during census and all of that, we found out that there are some places, that um, some of the agents or the hard work staff that were supposed to do some of these things, they are not able to do probably because of a lack of accessible road or infrastructure or other things. And then we just found out that those efforts are being thwarted and they are not able to get the exact result as expected. But yeah, in as much as those challenges are still existing, but ensuring that all the informations and all the data that are supposed to be gotten, once we ensure that they are readily available, especially when it has to do with the customer we are trying to ensure, that we can be certain that whenever there are issues, those issues can be adequately taken care of and compensated. So what are the opportunities that lies ahead that we expect to see? Infrastructure development. Larger scale infrastructure project offers major opportunities for underwriting significant space in Nigeria insurance market. So by this, we are saying that the infrastructure development in Nigeria will have to be strengthened. And when that is done, it will also lead to major opportunities. And then the insurance market can have a very big facelift. And the only way we can do that is to ensure that all the players in the industry and those responsible are able to do what is being expected of them. So micro insurance expansion, which I've mentioned earlier on, so the reach will not just be to a particular segment of the economy or the population, but everybody can also be partakers of this to ensuring that everybody is protected as much as those that are connected, they also get the benefit for it. Then the insurance reform which has to be focused now on the health aspect, aim to provide universal health coverage, increasing demand for health-related insurance products. So everybody have equal opportunity, right? So not just the white-collar job employees, but every other person, individuals as well, will also have access to healthcare if they just buy into the policy. And buying into it, so it doesn't have to be expensive, right? It's as little as what you have, depending on the package you can afford, you could actually get cover. And then when there are some health challenges, you don't have to struggle to pay out of pocket. You just have to go to the local hospital that is within your plan and get the necessary treatment and access care that you need to get. Then we also talk about the regional integration. So this has to do with on a larger scale and not just within Nigeria alone, but other countries as well. And that is one another area where Asamoah is actually playing big. In Nigeria, Asamoah has the opportunity of giving you what we call a black card if you are in our platinum plan. Our platinum plan gives you access to international hospitals within and outside Nigeria. So even if you travel out of Nigeria, you can still be very much covered. And if you have our comprehensive insurance cover for your vehicle, you have access to drive your car within the ECOWAS communities of Nigeria. And if anything happens while you're outside the shores of Nigeria, you are still very much covered. So these are just a way of collaborating and then integrating regional protection across all boards for insurance companies. So these regulations basically is meant to protect not just the insurance industry, but also the customers are aware to ensure that they get the full benefit and value for the premium that they pay. So, which for me is actually a good thing in the industry. So, whether you are in the life industry and life arm of the industry, or you are in the properties and casualty, JC and C, or you are in the health sector of it, you are all well protected because this regulation is actually focused on ensuring that all insurance customers in Nigeria are duly protected to ensure that there are no fraudulent claims, or there are no claim rejection when they occur. So basically, these are just um, some of the reforms that the Nigeria government recently enacted, and then these are the strategic outlook, and which is just in conclusion. So, what is the effect, and what does this speak to us as individual, or as an economy, as a country here in Nigeria? So, is it actually a red flag for us as citizens, or is this something that we should welcome with open arms and ensure that the rules and regulation is followed through to the latter? For me, I think the latter should be the case because it's actually meant to ensure that all citizens and people in Nigeria, especially those that came into this insurance product and services, get full benefits. So we'll talk about the industry transformation drivers. We'll talk about the strategic priorities and the future industry outlook, then collaboration and innovation. All these are just, the outlook that we get to experience as we move on. All finger crossed and assuming that this reform is followed to the latter, like everybody key into it. It is one thing to say this is what it is, and then it's another thing to act it out. So not in the case where you see blue and then be saying it is black, right? So just ensuring that everybody follow through with all the details, that it is clearly spelled out in black and white on paper. And if that is done, certainly the insurance industry in Nigeria will certainly grow, and then anybody that take up insurance policy will not will be able to go to bed and sleep with their two eyes closed, and ensuring that when there are claims, they'll be adequately compensated as I went to. So there will not be any need for distrust or lack of confidence and all of that, but everybody working together to ensure that the industry move to the next level. So basically, this brings me to the end of my presentation today, and I want to believe I've been able to convince us that taking up insurance policy is actually a way forward and a good thing that we all need to start imbibing and incorporating, even as we make our what's it called, resolutions. As we make our resolutions, as we start our year and we plan our calendar and our finances, let's also include insurance protection.
We have lost your audio again.
Oh, sorry, I think my network again is that. Okay, so I've come to the end of the presentation, and I want to believe that um, I've been able to do justice to the topic. So at this point, I will be open for questions and contribution if there are any. Thank you very much, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Brain, for such an insightful topic. There is one thing I'm taking away from this evening's topic. The what you said about Nigeria not creating enough awareness about insurance, and the topic you've spoken about this evening, and everything you've spoken about is an evidence to that, because there's some of these things that are like the first time I am like seeing it, and all. But we bless God for this opportunity, this platform that has opened us to this knowledge. And yeah, My prayer is that we all would imbibe this and put it into practice as you've explained. This is not something that is just, you just do it. It's not a waste. It's very important. So yeah, I don't know if we have anyone with any question. I'm sure Bra Brain is capable to answer these questions. Just going to wait for a bit to see if there will be any reaction or any contribution as well. Okay, we are not getting any questions, but now I'm guessing Brabrain did justice to the topic. For everyone thinks so. And I'm also hoping that the recording, or I expect that the recording of this session would be posted on our YouTube, should in case people that did not have the opportunity to join in this evening can also go back to rewatch, to also gain from this knowledge as well. Once again, thank you so much, Brabrain, for this for breaking down this topic for us properly. Right. Okay, just to close us this evening, we'll be taking our closing hymn from SDH 625. Yeah, that's our team song. So if media team can please help us in playing this, it's been much appreciated.
I'm pressing on the upward way, new heights I'm gaining every day, still praying as I onward bound. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
My heart has no desire to stay where doubts will rise and fears dismay. Though some may dwell where days abound, my prayer, my aim is higher ground.
Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground. I want to scale the utmost height and catch a gleam of glory bright, but still I'll pray till heaven I found. Lord, lead me on to higher ground. Lord, lift me up and let me stand, by faith on heaven's stable land, a higher plane than I have found. Lord, plant my feet on higher ground.
All right, we bless your name, dear Father in heaven, for this evening. We thank you for how far you've led us. Thank you for the topic that you used your son, Brabrain, to break down for us. We bless you because we will not just be hearers alone of these words, but we will also be able to put this into practice in Jesus' name. Oh God, we thank you because as we go close from this gathering right now, your presence will not depart from to seek your face. We pray that you would put this in the heart of every member of the church and everyone, so that we can all come together. Jesus, no evil come near us in the name of Jesus. Bless you because at the end we will to you. Amen.